Good afternoon. Welcome to the Wisconsin Live Desk. Welcome to day 4 of Judge on Trial. Carl Defenbaugh alongside Fox 6 investigator Brian Polson. We have been here each and every afternoon of the trial of Judge Hannah Dugan, a Milwaukee County Circuit Court judge on trial for federal crimes at the U.S. Courthouse in downtown Milwaukee. And we'll see, Brian, which we will get to over the next 4 hours. Today could be the day. It feels pivotal.
It's certainly the day the jury is going to get this case because the defense already heard all 4 of its witnesses this morning within a 45-minute span. 45 minutes of testimony, and the defense rested. And most importantly, as we suggested might be the case yesterday, Judge Hannah Dugan, the defendant, did not testify in her own defense. It was her choice not to testify. So the defense rested. They actually had the jury take lunch early because originally the plan was going to be the prosecution would give its closing argument, they'd take a lunch break, then come back for the defense closing argument, and one side or the other didn't like that. They said, we want to do these back-to-back, all in one sequence. So they said, let's get the jury their food early. They've done that, and now the closing arguments are underway.
Yeah, to get you up to speed on what is happening right now at that gorgeous courthouse in downtown Milwaukee. Closing statements started around 11:46. Let's bring in our Ted Perry right now, Fox 6 anchor, who listened to some of the defense testimony earlier this morning. More importantly, Ted, we are paying close attention to what is happening right now, the final chance for the prosecution and Judge Dugan's defense team to make their case to those 13 members of the jury, 12 of whom will decide the fate of Judge Hannah Dugan. So, Ted, you and I and Brian are all looking through these documents. You get to hear some of it. We get to read some of the statements that are happening inside the federal courthouse. What do you make of what we've heard so far from the prosecuting attorneys? It is Kelly Brown Watzka, the assistant U.S. attorney, giving the closing statement for the federal government.
And she started, guys, just about 17 minutes ago, started to make her case. I want to just bring in some of the flavor of that, but I can tell you the courtroom is packed. The overflow room, packed. The overflow room needs an overflow room. That's how much interest. Sometimes during this week, I've been in and out of the courtroom. I've been in the overflow room. At times when the testimony is a little dry, a little technical, a little what hallway does this go to? It hasn't really been filled. People come in and out. It's standing room only in the overflow room. I was sitting with one gentleman who's a U.S. attorney who really can't say too much to me because he's been told not to talk to the media. But he said, yeah, cases don't go to trial very often, and this is a big case in federal court, and a lot of us just want to see it. So they were just sort of soaking it in. So staff members are up there. U.S. attorneys are up there. Interim U.S. Attorney Brad Schimmel has been in and out of the overflow room, staying out of the courtroom. So, yeah, the drama, the real drama that we've been waiting for, it's happening 2 floors above me right now. U.S. Attorney Watzka starting out saying, listen, when a judge uses her courtroom and her robe to ignore the law, what will other judges do? Will an environmental judge ignore environmental laws? There is no line if the judges do what they want to do. There will only be chaos. And the oath requires her to follow the law. No judge may believe that their personal beliefs are above the law. And she made it very clear. She said, I want to stop for a second and talk that this trial is not about politics. Whatever you think of ICE and the deportation efforts underway under the current administration have nothing to do with this case. That she was, and she quoted Judge Cervera from the other day from her testimony. That's the judge who Hannah Dugan brought out of her courtroom, out into the hallway in a robe, told her to stay in a robe. Judge Cervera the other day said judges shouldn't be helping defendants evade arrest. That quote was put up on a monitor for jurors to see. So this opening argument for the prosecution is going to last about an hour. Then the defense, and then prosecutors will get a final say, guys.
I want to actually just step back for a minute because this has happened so fast. The defense case was so brief that we haven't yet talked in our streaming service at all about what the defense case was. We're going to hear it in their closing argument coming up. But real quickly, there were 4 witnesses today, Ted. 2 of them are sitting Milwaukee County Circuit judges. One was a public defender, and another, I believe, was, of all things, former Mayor Tom Barrett. Sounds like he was
currently employed.
Not currently employed, former ambassador to Luxembourg. But he was essentially a character witness, right? He was just a, I've known her 50 years, she's honest as the day is long kind of thing.
Absolutely. The prosecution had one question for Tom Barrett, and that is, were you in the courthouse on April 18th? I was not. That's all we have, Your Honor. Just to kind of say to the jurors, he wasn't even there, okay? We don't really care about her character right now. We can tell you, we've given you the facts. He wasn't there that day.
What about those other three
let's talk
witnesses,
about
though?
Tom
Was there
Barrett.
anything? Oh, go ahead. Talk about Tom Barrett, but I want to know about those others, too, if there was anything we learned that was new.
And we can get to that, for sure. I'm happy to get to that. But I think Barrett was the most interesting one for a number of reasons, guys. We talk about small walkie all the time. He was the fourth and final witness for the defense. And he's called, when you walk in, let me try to give a courtroom. Yeah, here we go. We got the bench right here. So you walk in, and the judge is up here, and you have to walk through, and you have to walk in front of the judge, Judge Edelman. Well, Judge Edelman's face lit up when he saw Tom Barrett. You got to remember, they served in the state Senate from 1989 to 1993 together. They were both Democratic state senators. They know each other well. They served together. And the smile that came across Edelman's face, and he nodded, and Tom Barrett sort of nodded and didn't wave back, but nodded and smiled back.
Well, how
and
about
made
this,
his
Ted,
way
as well?
gingerly
Barrett said
to-
his
yeah.
legal career, before his political career, his legal career began in that courtroom.
But you know what? It makes me wonder. is that
Working
if-
for Judge Warren.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if he was the last witness, and there's that little bit of a recognition among former Democratic colleagues, is that why he's there? Is this a not so subtle nod to the jury to go, it is about politics?
I don't think so. I think that's a great question, but I don't think so. I think he was really brought in to say, I've known Hannah Dugan since she was 10 years old. He explained the relation. Her older sister, Jody, and Tom Barrett were, I don't want to say high school friends, because Tom Barrett went to an all-male high school, Marquette High School, but they
They could
knew
still
each
be
other.
friends
They
in
were
high school.
Contemporaries. Oh, I understand that they weren't friends from high school.
Yeah.
I'm saying they met at around that age. And they would often go out to the Dugan family home, which was an old farmhouse in New Berlin. And Hannah Dugan has a twin brother. Tom Barrett's mother is a twin. His uncle is her twin. So they sort of bonded over that a little bit. And she said, you know how you have little brothers and sisters that are always hanging around, wanting to be with the older kids? Hannah Dugan was one of those. She was always hanging around. I've known her since she was 10 years old. And when the defense team asked, is she honest? And he said, she is extremely honest, and she will tell you what's on her mind, which I thought would have been a great time to say, well, let's bring her up and tell you what's on her mind. But they made the decision long ago not to have Hannah Dugan testify in her own defense here. But the closing statement from Tom Barrett was, I've known her, she's extremely honest, and she will tell you what is on her mind. So it was no bones about it. He was brought in as a character witness. I like the thinking that you're doing, Brian, but I think that might be too many chess moves for the jurors to grasp.